Hey, it worked. What a palaver. What a palaver, I tell you. Honestly, crazy. Just crazy. Let's do this. Hang on a sec. Um, what are you doing? There we go. Right, so I've got my drink, got a cup of tea. I like to move it all around. I've got water for when that's all done and dusted. I hope everyone managed to get in. So, hi Karen and Carla and Glatra. Hopefully, everybody that was stuck in the other one will now join me in the new one. What a nightmare. And the first time I did it, although I chose horizontal, when I did it, it wasn't horizontal. And so it goes on, you know. Then when I finally get one that's horizontal, it's not the right one. It's set up more than one. Why? Why would it do that? I don't know. So how are you all? Thank you very much. What have you all been doing? So I've had a busy day today. I did my video. I was going to do a training course that was cancelled, and so that kind of put me a little bit late. And then a new gimbal arrived, and I thought, well, great. So I charged it, and I thought I'd do a little test with it, and I've recorded my Open With Me with it. Good job I tested it, because halfway through it went boom. And so that means that the person who's had it has completely messed up the gimbal, because they've used a phone that was way too heavy, like the Pro Max. It can't cope with anything that size. And in fact, this one, which is just an iPhone Pro, but you see how thick it is? This is the borderline. You won't go any heavier than that. But the one I tested it on was the old iPhone 11, which is really thin and lightweight. Didn't even take the weight of that one. So yeah, good job I tested it. So now I've got the kind of palaver of trying to send it back, and I've already put in that this is not opened but never used, as it have they said, you know, it's lies. It's actually faulty because they've used something too heavy. They are hope that people don't know that they've never had one, but I've had, this is my third one. I had one before where the person did the same thing. But yeah, my original one broke. It just was old and broke. But obviously I need a new one, because they're changing them. Obviously they change them every year, but that one's perfect for recording. I don't know about the newer ones. I did buy another one that wasn't, and I've stuck with it. Only it's all right for landscape, but I never use it, to be honest with you, so I might sell it. Okay, so hello Annika, welcome. This is a reminder for you. Oh yeah, put the thummies. Yeah, but reminder for me as well, because you know I will forget to say it. So hello everyone. How are you all? Are you doing well? Are you working on anything? I've kind of reached a point where I had so much going on that I was making and going to do, and then Gary got kidney stones, which put everything, you know, to bed really. But I do need to do the hat. I've got these little, oh, don't knock over the pumpkin. But the hat that matches these I've got to do. A little gizmo. And the ruffle scarf that I was making from crochet I've got to do. The ruffle scarf that I knitted I've got to do. And I will do them, but it's really difficult at the moment with life not being quite up to normal. It will be. Just had breakfast and you're getting ready to go to work, but I'm glad you caught me for a few minutes. I'm glad you did too, Karen. Where do you work? My tea's a bit too hot. I've got this taste of coffee in my mouth because I made one for Gary, and I wanted to make sure it was okay, so I tasted it. And now I kind of can't wait to get rid of the taste. Not that I dislike it. I'm not like Sam. I don't go crazy and, you know, gip or anything like that. I just have to be in the mood for coffee feel like I've got 20 chins today. It's because I can see this line at the bottom of my phone. It just looks like chins. I need to blow. Hang on. Yeah, so lots of sniffles around today. Only because of allergies, though, I think. It's nothing going on. For school district in an inclusion program. Oh, wow. That sounds interesting. That sounds good. I always had jobs that were way too big for me, you know. I don't mean that I couldn't cope with them. I just meant that I didn't ever want to start out having a job that was big. I only wanted to just get a little job because I'm not career minded. I don't seek to have like some illustrious career. Never did. And but whenever I got a job, they'd always promote me, or I'd end up running it, and then I'd taken, you know, bitten off more than I wanted to chew. Not that I could chew, but I didn't want that, and so I'd end up getting rid of the job, and that would, or when I was younger, I only lasted 6 months in jobs because I just could see all the things they were doing wrong, and the management were awful, and I couldn't do it. You know, I just like have to get out. And it wasn't until I had a job where I worked as a civilian for the police. That was interesting, but it was a bit depressing. And so then from that moment, then I worked for the ambulance service, and I was stuck that for 13 years, which was amazing. But I couldn't do it anymore. I was just so burnt out by it. So yeah, that was my longest job. And again, I ended up taking on more responsibility, then more responsibility, and in the end it was like, oh, why did I do that? Hi Teresa and Diane, good morning. And good morning. You found me. Was you in the old one? Something went wrong. I don't get it really. I honestly I don't know why they had to change things. You know, as I say, things are not broken. Why fix it? It took you so long to get back in. Oh no. Worked at your last job for 29 years, and you're on 8 on this one. Wow, that's dedication. Look, obviously, I can't stand it when there's people in charge that don't deserve the job, or by that I mean they play favourites, treat it like the Lempire, you know, where I don't like that. And the other thing is when they haven't got a Scooby-Doo what they're doing, and you'll have to suffer the consequences. So that's the two types of jobs I've had in the past, you know. But yeah, you know the ones I mean, where they're like little Hitlers, and they run the place, and you have to suck up to. I can't be doing that. Can't suck up. It just can't be done. I cannot do it. It's not in me to do that. So I'd always end up the rebel, you know, the one. That'd be me, the rebel without a cause. That would be me. And then I worked for myself, and then I just hated me because I was the stupid idiot. No, you're joking. I like working for myself. It's so much better. Is that who I think it is? Oh no, that looked very similar. The little picture. So yeah, I'm glad really that I work for myself now, because I've only got myself to moan at. But you know, it is hard. Just turning my fan off for a bit. I'll no doubt put it back on. But when you're really busy, and you know you're kind of under pressure to do stuff, the only thing is when you work from home and you work for yourself, people don't tend to think of it as a job. You know, some people don't anyway. They just think of it as that little hobby you do. And you know, so you're always kind of feeling a little bit pulled in different directions. I do have 100% of the responsibility and the blame. And if I, you know, I can complain about the boss all I like, doesn't do me any good. Julie, I recognise the name pop up there. Sometimes I can see him. Hello, don't forget thummies. Yeah, sometimes I can see it quite clearly when it pops up, and other times it's like, who? But yeah, you've got a distinctive little the way it looks, so I knew. How are you? Cheers, my tea is cooled down. Oh, Can finally get rid of the taste of coffee. It was the smallest of sip to make sure it was fine, because the little light on the coffee maker went to green. It went to red, and I thought, oh, does that mean it's not hot? You know, because it was amber. It's only amber because it needs cleaning. It got really hard water, and mostly I put bottled water in, so it shouldn't happen. But occasionally, I guess we put tap in, so I've got to descale it so it's amber rather than green. But it had gone red, and I thought, oh, so I tasted it, make sure it was all right. You still have to sort posting a package. Wahee! I know. I mean, I get them to come and collect them from me, so you know, it's a lot simpler for me these days than it was when I first started doing Hobby Rocks, and I had parcels, and especially in the early days, I had a lot of people order, say, 2 or 3 mystery boxes. And so the parcels would be gigantic because I'd have to send them parcel force. Don't do that anymore. I send 2 under normal mail. But yeah, back then I thought, how am I going to get all these to the post office? So I'd have to take Gary with me, and he'd be like laden with them, and so would I. And then whoever was behind me in the queue would kind of be sticking pins in my effigy, you know. But now I just go online, get them to come and collect them, give them to the post van, and off he goes. And that's so much better. Plus, it is a tad cheaper, so I'm able to, you know, not put prices up and stuff like that. No, Gary's a lot better. He's moving much better. He's still uncomfortable and not quite himself, but when he first was diagnosed, he was, or before even, he was rolling around in agony and he couldn't speak because of the pain. It was so bad. But now he's moving a lot better, and he actually went back to work today, but he didn't do a full day, and he did lighter. He did sort of his job, but he didn't do quite as many. And he's only got 2 shifts, this one and tomorrow, and he'll probably do the same tomorrow. And then he's got a week off, so that would help. But yeah, he's not in so much pain, so we don't know if he passed the stone or if it's just moved to an area that doesn't kill him as much as it did. But yeah, he's still got discomfort, taking the medication, not all the painkillers and antibiotics and stuff that they gave him. But he's definitely moving a lot better than he was. That's for sure. And yesterday he was teasing me a lot. So I always know he's a lot better when he's giving me grief and teasing me and making me jump and stuff like that. And he was a little bit more himself yesterday. Got some finished objects to photograph and forward to me. Used Hobby Rocks yarn for them. Starcraft Bellissima. That is really soft, isn't it? Someone said to me, oh, they didn't like it because it splits. But when I used it, it didn't split. I liked it. You had to give up drinking coffee in the morning and lunch because children didn't like your coffee breath. The smell lingers and freshly ground coffee smells lovely. Coffee in breath doesn't. There was this guy that I used to work with called Ricky, and he had the most awful halitosis, like stinky breath, you know, if you didn't know what that is. And he had this dreadful smell. It was like, well, you can't really say what it is. And we had this really outspoken manager, and she said to him one day, because he was up on the dispatch desk with her, and she just went, for God's sake, you need to go to the dentist. Your teeth are rotten. Your breath stinks. I can't stand it. And she kept nagging at him, and he said, it's because I smoke and I drink coffee. She said, it's not. That is not coffee. And she was just really going at him. She said, that is not coffee. That is because your teeth are rotting and you need to go get them sorted out. And honestly, it smelt kind of like the worst stagnant pond mixed with something else. It was vile, but, you know, most people were quite tactful and wouldn't say anything. But she just went into one, and every time he went near her, she said it. You still haven't been, have you? But yeah. But yeah, I know what you mean. Coffee doesn't always smell nice, but that his breath wasn't coffee. It wasn't. It was not. Definitely not. If it was, I'd never drink anything that smelled like that. Uh, yeah, they are awful. I mean, it was a bit of a thing out the blue, really. To be honest with you, it was quite a shock that that's what it was. You know, he's never had anything like that before. But in a way, I'm kind of glad it wasn't anything that's, you know, when I said to him, like, point where the pain was, because he couldn't speak, and it was low, and I thought it's either going to be, because it was on the one side, I thought it could either be appendix or something like that, but I knew it wasn't cardiac, you know, because it wasn't high enough. So that was, at least I knew it wasn't anything like that. You've done something similar to a lady in training once. I had this friend who had a real nasty smell of onions about her, but it wasn't that she ate them either, but she did have an onion smell. It was her, you know, some people have a smell. Well, she had a very an oniony smell, and I can remember, like, every time she was around, people would go, "You smell onions," but you know, she obviously didn't know that she smelled of onions, but she did. And that weird how why she would smell like an onion is beyond me, but she did. But yeah, onion lady. Cheers. Got to slurp this down because it's not that hot now. Oh, it's very drinkable. Hi, Tammy. Missed the last ones and watched on replay, but you're here now. I sent Jane a message because she always misses it, and I thought if I sent her a Facebook message, she would get it. And I put it up on Crochet Worldwide. If you haven't found that, that's my Facebook group. And I did have others. You know, I had one that was called Crochet Rocks, one that was called, oh, I don't know, but I have this one's called Crochet Worldwide, and I started it because I belonged to a few crochet groups, and they always had the same rules. You know, no self promotion, no this, no that, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And I thought, to hell with that, I'm a rebel. I told you I'm a rebel. I can't do that. So I started one where it said the only rule is that you've got to be kind to each other, and that is it. You can promote yourself, you can promote your business, you can show your work, you can, you know, if you want to sell something, you can point them in direction. You do what you like, but just be nice to each other, and then that's fine. But why? What's wrong with someone saying, you know, I make stitch markers, I'm having a sale? You know, I don't get why people they jump on these, like, that, you know, everybody's got these rules, we must do the rules like everybody else. I don't. It's like, you know, point to your YouTube channel, point to your YouTube channel. So it's called Crochet Worldwide. I'm not always very quick to accept that when people are new members, but I get round to it. So I'm not on it every day. Oh, yeah, I didn't even know it was her, you know. I didn't know it was her. I should have realised because she's ordered before, and I should have remembered the name, but I didn't, and it just came up as Samantha somebody, you know. So I packed them all, and then when she said, "Trust me to order," while Gary was ill, and I thought, "Oh my God, I didn't know." Otherwise, I might have popped her in a Christmas card. I actually need to buy a pack of Christmas cards so I can start putting them in people's orders and stuff like that. But I don't have that many, but I've got a couple that are around, so I could have done that because she probably won't order again until then. So, or like after, maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, that time of year, isn't it? Where we start thinking about presents. I've ordered a few. I've got a couple for Gary that I've ordered, and mostly I've just been ordering stuff for me. I mean, I know I shouldn't, but I keep getting little things pop up, and I think, oh, that's not really what I want for Christmas, though. That's something I'd like now. So yeah, you know, like a concealer, because I'm trying to conceal myself. You know, no, but you know, things like that, and things that I need to do. On this channel, I'm going to be doing a microneedling trial, and I need another microneedler because the one I've got that's the size I need is tiny. It's like really thin. And I'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'd just be like ridiculous. So I want to get one that's 5 foot wide. No, I don't, not really, but it needs to be a little wider. So I've got to order a new one of those, and I've got stuff for it now. So that's the only thing I'm waiting for, really. I haven't actually ordered that yet, but I had a bit of a row with Amazon yesterday. Let me just drink my tea. I hope it doesn't make me burp, because that would just be really, really, really... Well, it would be, but it's not the one I was looking for, is it? Oh, that one. No. This one. I hate that one. It's not there anymore. Where's it gone? Sorry about this. There it is. Sorry. So if I feel one coming, I'll do that, and you won't think it's me. That's the idea. Anyway, I've got to finish my tea. Be back in a sec. There we go. I had a bit of a tiz with Amazon, because I went on the Martin, because I get the Martin Lewis money saving expert newsletter come to me. Hang on. Hi, Dunno. How are you? Hello to Jessie. Don't forget the thummy. We know that there's no favouritism because she's a YouTuber. No, definitely not. Your teacher had bread breath. She was on Atkins. Oh yeah, that can. I don't ever get that, funnily enough. Some people do, but I don't. I'm curious if the microneedling works. Well, you'll find out. Just be loads of... I'll have a cup of tea and it will start gushing out. Then you'll know it doesn't. So yeah, what happened was... oh, hang on. Hello, someone said good morning. Who's that? Hi, Wynette. Woo woo. Don't forget the thummy. So yeah, right. I went on the email. There it was. New Martin Lewis thing. And it said, are you eligible for an Amazon Prime promotion? So I clicked on it and it said, congratulations. Yes, your £5 credit has been credited to your account. You just need to buy something that costs £15. That's all it said. I had things in my basket for 30 odd, 34. No £5 credit. So I joined their chat and I got someone whose name had lots of consonants, very few vowels. So I haven't got a clue how to pronounce that. And we started talking. They didn't know anything about it, didn't know what was what and which way was up or even what day of the week it was. So they kind of cut me off. And then it went to someone else and I explained it to them. I will have, thank you, sure, I will have a look at that. Off they went. They didn't know anything about it, couldn't sort it out. So again, they cut me off. I was getting more and more angry by this time. So I'm starting to now type in capitals. I want to speak to a manager. And then if you don't answer within, they say, we're trying to connect one to you now. I'm trying to get my supervisor. And then if I don't, so I said, okay. But then if neither of you talk, it starts to suspend you. So every now and then I just put manager, manager, just to keep the chat open. Anyway, finally get another one. Yes, it's been applied. I looked. No, it hasn't. They cut me off. So steam is starting to come out of my ears by now. So I thought, right, I want someone to phone me. So I went back out after 4 people that cut me off. I thought, right, no, you can ring me. So I chose that option. And so somebody rang me. And I said, okay, I've had 4 people now cut me off. I'm not happy. Where is my promotion? They keep saying it's there and it's not. They said it has to be, what is it? He said, the things that are in your basket are not sold by Amazon. It has to be sold by Amazon and sent by Amazon. I said, well, it didn't say that. It doesn't say that. It just says that there's a £5 credit. But that you have to buy something that is sold and sent by Amazon. It can't be sold by Joe Blogs down the road but posted by Amazon. It's got to be both. And then, do you think I can find anything that I want for £15 that Amazon sell that they post at the same time? Anyway, got sorted out in the end. But all that time, I said, look, I kept saying, I have wasted an hour and a half on this. It's all for the sake of £5. I might just delete my account. I was so angry. I was getting a bit in a tiz, and I don't know why. I was just in one of those moods. It has gone downhill, hasn't it? And it's because they farm it out again to a foreign land where everything is scripted. And if it deviates from the script, they don't understand, so they cut you off. And I said, am I likely to get someone who knows what they're talking about if I do this midweek? Because it might just be out of hours, like a weekend or something, that they shove you over to darkest Peru or something, or wherever. But I've sorted it out in the end. But it didn't say that. It didn't say it's been applied, but it must be something sold by Amazon and posted by Amazon. It didn't say that. So it's just like, it wasn't there, is all I knew. Honestly. But it got rid of a few hours last night. I was sitting there thinking, my eyes were starting to hurt as well. I was peering into the screen. It really has gone downhill all around. You got a couple of emails that you're eligible for Amazon business prices. Sounds like a scam, even though I've had my own business listed for 6 months. I know what you mean. It does sound like a scam because I've never heard of that, but just be wary. But this was on the Martin Lewis newsletter. There was 2. If you get the photo app, the Amazon photo app, then you can get, I think, £15 off. If you just click the thing, it ran out on Sunday, and it's just because you're a Prime member, they'll give you £5. So that was that one. That it was the Prime member one, and I knew, and I had a screenshot where and I took a photo of it and sent it to them and said, look, it clearly says this has been applied to your cart. It's not in my cart. And this went on, and they said, now that it has been applied, you haven't got to use it now. It's valid until like a long time in the future. So if I ever find anything that's a £15 or above that's sold by Amazon and posted by Amazon, I will eventually, hopefully, get £5 off. They bring out the witch in me too, Kim. Like I was all right on the phone because he couldn't go anywhere and he couldn't cut me off really. And I suppose for the phone calls, they choose the ones that speak better English. He weren't great, but they must, if it's a phone call, have the ones that are possibly better. Do you know what I mean? Rather than those tapping away on the keyboard. You think it takes them a long time and they must be talking to other people. They're probably not. They're probably just trying to translate it and figure out what on earth it is you're talking about. That's probably why it takes so long. But yeah, and of course it's Halloween, so it definitely brought out the witch in me though. Well, on the chat it did. But I thought, you know what, I'm gonna have a phone call. I've had enough of this. So I kind of did. And I was ready. But he was quite pleasant, and it got resolved. But it didn't, that none of the print anywhere said this only applies to goods sold by Amazon and posted by Amazon. So yeah, well, I don't know if I'll ever get it, but we'll see. But I was really angry. Probably, I don't know, just can't even say time of the month anymore. Did they tell you their name was Bob? And you see, no, it wasn't Bob. It had lots of consonants. It was like, instead of like DB and then a few more and then O and a few more, and you think, how the heck would you say that? Some of them have got to be silent, you think. Well, you'd think, but I can't be sure. But yeah, odd names they had for sure. Bob, Bob, Bob. Um, wasn't that Monty Python? I don't know. I always think it's what my fish call each other, you know, when they're running around the tank. Bob, Bob, Bob. Have you remembered the name of the program you were watching about the man with many lives? Oh no, I haven't. No, I haven't. But it was fairly. I'll tell you what. If I have a look on the TV, um, I will try and remember to tell you in my chat tomorrow, because it wasn't bad. It had, like I said, that woman that was in Luther. You know, the crazy one, Alice. She was the woman who it was kind of about, really. But yeah, it kept you on your toes. You had to keep thinking, you know, is this going to turn out that he had lots and lots of undercover? But yeah, it was. I won't tell you too much. But yeah, I'll remember tomorrow to have a look and tell you what it was. The last one I spoke to was Steve, not. Yeah, it's funny though, because you know, I kind of had these neighbours, and they came from the Philippines, and my friend was called Letty, and her name's Letitia, and that's kind of, you know, English Americanish kind of name, isn't it? But all of them had names that were English. So there was Natalie and Michelle, and her son was Mitchell. So she had Mitchell and Michelle, and Mitchell was married to Natalie, who was Thai. And so one day they said, "Oh, that's not her name, but it sounds a bit like that in English, so we just call her Natalie." So I just wonder what their actual names were. But we used to have some great parties, um, because lots of men, they get themselves a Filipino wife. You know, that happens, and they're usually old, and the wives are not. So when you have the parties, there was like a room full of old men talking trains and stuff like that. And then in the kitchen, there'd be like loads of women, and they'd all be talking at once, and they'd all have high pitched voices, and it all sound like they're having a big row. But they were crazy, you know, they were fun, real crazy, and the parties were amazing. The food was incredible because all of the um, all of the Filipino food was nice, but then Natalie was Thai, so she made these amazing curries, and you know, just the food was always astonishing. I used to love it when they'd say, "We're having a barbecue. Do you want to come over?" Yes, I do. Yes, I absolutely do. You know, thank you very much. Do you want to take a doggy bag? Yes, I'll have four. You know, the only thing I weren't keen on was the sticky rice. Like they'd make like a dessert cake sort of thing out of rice. And if you've ever had it, you'll know what I mean. But it was just a little bit too much for me. It was like condensed milk and rice. It was just really sweet and not my cup of tea. Kind of caramelized a little bit, but I didn't like it. You know, but she made a really lovely fruit salad, and she put all cream in it, and that was really really lovely. But they do things like a big salmon, you know, amazing food, but not so keen on the sticky rice. But because I went there, she went, "You like that?" I went, "Yeah," because I'm being polite, you know. So what did she do? She'd like bundle me loads of it up, say, "Take that home with you," because no one ever ate it. So she'd say, "But oh, Tracy likes that." So she would just put it all in her and say, "There you go, take that home, enjoy." And I'd be like, "Oh, thanks," you know. I'd have been could build a house with that stuff. Definitely could stick things together with it. No worries at all, really. But I want to see the Savile one. I see it on there. I've seen a few in the past, but I have seen that one. I was going to watch it. Um, Amazon decided to suddenly demand two-way authentication by your obsolete phone number. Cannot contact Amazon help support without being locked out until you are logged in. Hey Lulu, welcome. Don't forget the thummy. Oh, what's that? I got a message. Oh, an eBay message. I wonder what he's saying. because he will probably try and say that it's never been used when it obviously has. If you've only just joined me, I bought a new gimbal because well, basically I've tried in the past and I've had exactly the same issue with someone else that sold one. Hang on. Wrong one. There we go. Sorry about that. I did a hiccup. I didn't have a siren. So yeah, I bought a new gimbal because my one still works, but I worry that the one day it's going to give up and then I won't be able to do tutorials, or I'll have to figure out something else. And because it's an older model now, a lot of people are selling them saying never been used, still in a box. And when you get it, they've obviously used it and they've completely buggered it. And this is what's happened. So it's brand new, opened but never used, and yet the thinnest, lightest phone, halfway through, you can see it if you watch my open with me, which will pop up at about 3:15. You'll see that halfway through it goes, and then I have to connect the old one and say, oh, we've got a problem. And I did warn, I said that I'm doing a test on this gimbal just to see if this does work. And clearly it was faulty. So I've put in I want to send this back because it's faulty, and it was not unused. It is broken. So no doubt he will try and not to have to send it back. But there is one that says boxed, unopened. I bought that one. So it's a little more expensive, but I bet when I get it, that box has been opened. It won't be in the cellophane, I can assure you. It'll just be back in its box. So again, I'll do a test. If that one works, great. If not, they'll get it back as well. This will be about the fourth one that I've had to send back. One was I sent back to CEX because they had the same problem, and two on eBay. So we'll see. Sticky rice is an acquired taste. It certainly is. You quite like most of the sticky rice desserts, but in small quantities. Very small, but she would give me all the leftovers to take home with her. Have to find it and give it a try. What, sticky rice? It's very, 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 very sweet. But yeah, they actually used to make. Do you know? I can remember once. It's a very sweet. They were lovely people, and they reminded me of Stepford Wives because they were always trying to do something westernized to please their men. See, well, I have to food wise, that is, because most of them, are very stuck in their ways and want their English food, not Filipino food or whatever. So one day they were saying, we need to know how to make a sponge. So pardon? We just want to make a sponge cake. We need to know how to make, and so one said, I have a recipe, and they were crowding around this recipe like, oh, I must write this down, And I was like, it's just a sponge, it's really easy to do a sponge, but, and then after that, every time you went, you got sponge cake. Bless him. You're back to Savile? That's fine. You can be back to Savile. I want to watch that. I do. Is it a drama or is it just documentary? I did watch one that was documentaries before, and that was awful. But that's not new. It was probably last year that I watched that, I think. But yeah, just weird. There was a time where all of the people that you watched as a child turned out to be sick. And, there was Rolf Harris, with his didgeridoo. That sounds so dodgy now, doesn't it? But Rolf Harris, with his painting, and used to love watching him. It turns out he was not who we all thought he was. I just read that. Can you write to Jim or Fix It, the biggest nasty Nancy perv in the world, and then ask to meet the second one? I nearly wrote to Jim and Fix It once for my sister because she's older than me, my sister, but she and her husband wouldn't let me do it. But she always wanted to draw on a bald man's head, you know, with a marker pen. She always wanted to draw a picture on a bald man's head. So I was going to write in, goodness gracious, can you imagine if it'd been inappropriate to my sister? It'd been my fault, wouldn't it? But yeah, she just always wanted to draw on a bald man's head. So later on in life, most of the men in our family were bald. So I said, you know, well, you've got plenty of heads to choose from now. But back then there weren't any. But she didn't get to do it, sadly. That is bad, isn't it? But it is sad when you look back and you think all those people that you liked. And do you remember that guy who used to have a glove puppet? He was American, and he had I think he had a glove puppet and they used to draw. I can't remember the name of the show now, but we used to watch that, and then there was a big cloud over him, which was sad, you know, because we kind of liked him. That was when I was young and I first got married. We used to watch him. Oh, I can't remember what it was called. You know, there used to be that program, and then there was that like the DIY one. What was that called? Home Improvements. But the other one with the puppet was before it, and he used to just walk around with a puppet on his arm. I think the puppet gave him he was able to say what he wanted when he had the puppet on. I can't remember what it's called. Maybe one of my American friends here can tell me. But yeah, there was a dodgy thing attached to him as well. It's really, really sad when you look back at all the people that you used to really admire and love watching, and they all had this awful side to them, like Gary Glitter. You know, but he could come out of prison soon. Gary Glitter, they were saying. That's not good, is it? But yeah, it just goes to show it doesn't matter how much money and fame people were that way, then they're that way. You have no idea. Oh, I wish I could remember. It was a long while ago. I would say I was probably in my 20s. You know, this is going back a couple of years, really. I don't remember his name. But yeah, he used to have I'm sure he was an artist. Like, he used to draw. But he had a puppet that lived on his arm. And he was a very sweet looking guy. But obviously not. I wish I knew. I wish I could remember. Never mind. Let's not talk about these nasty people. They're disgusting. But yeah, I do want to watch that one, I guess. I think when it comes to it, I watch the TV and then I think, oh, I don't know, I don't fancy that tonight. I guess there'll come a time when I will. Sticky rice is also called glutinous rice. You can also make savoury dishes with it. You like beans and meat stuffed into bamboo stick or wrapped in banana leaf or rice paper. No, not Sooty. Sooty was like, no, Harry Corbett. He was all right. And Matthew. No, this was an American show. It was an American sitcom. And he was an artist. And he had... No, not Tony Hart. Not Morph. No. He was American. It was an American TV show. But yeah, Morph. No, not Tony Hart. It was not like an art program. It was a sitcom. He just happened to draw. He happened to be an artist. No, not Larry the Lamb. No, it definitely wasn't Larry the Lamb. Although, it always makes me laugh that actually is an actor called Larry Lamb. He was in Gavin and Stacey and lots of other things. It was an American thing back in the 80s or maybe even early 80s. No, he weren't black. He was white. He was a white man. And he was very good. Well, I can't say good looking. He was quite pleasing looking. He weren't like, oh, he's nice. Wasn't like that. He was just like a sweet looking person. Kind of Leo Sayer-ish. Only with blonder hair. You know, not so curly. Nothing like Leo Sayer. Nothing whatsoever like Leo Sayer. I'm really good at describing, you know, it's one of my skills. No, not an elderly black man. I wonder who that was. You mean Cosby? No, no, no. Because he was a bit dodge, wasn't he, as well? So many of them turned out to be. So many. So, yeah, it's not good, is it? And of course, yesterday, um, started getting the jokes come round about poor Matthew Perry. And one did make me smile because it had a picture of David Schwimmer and then him, and it had Schwimmer, non-Schwimmer. And that made me kind of inwardly smile, although it's very wrong. It's very, very wrong, but it did kind of like, hi, Roberta. How are you? Good to see you. Don't forget thummy. If you haven't already thummied, everyone, don't forget the thumbs. So yeah, Gary has come home. I've got to make dinner soon. I'm in two minds. I've got a chicken that I can cook, or we got steak with lamb chop. I think it'll be the steak with lamb chop. Back on my diet now, back on it, and I'm kind of. I went straight back in without any kind of oh my god, I wish I had some biscuits or anything like that. You know, there's no pangs of any kind for me. I think I'd eaten stuff that made me feel like that weren't what it was cracked up to be, you know? Like I went out for a Nando's, and instead of just eating chicken like I should, I did have chips. They were disgusting. The worst ones, you know. So everything I had, it was like, oh, what's the point of that? And I ended up feeling I had this kind of swelling. It's not gone down yet. I still feel like it's there, and it's lymphedema all the way down here. So you know, it made me feel like there's this hand at my throat. That's how it kind of feels with that. I've got the lymphedema, so I'm quite glad to be back on it. I can't wait for it all to go. Nice to have an internet back. Yes, it's nice to have you back. Yeah, rice. Yeah, you can make lots with rice. We have rice substitute. I have been making curries, and I make a mean madras. Don't have it really too hot, but just so there's a heat to it. And I've been using bare naked rice and bare naked noodles. So I made chicken Alfredo with the noodles and a spaghetti bolognese with the noodles. And it's not quite as sticky and creamy when you do it as it is when you make it with pasta or with actual rice. There's that slight, it's more of a, you know, things roll off it like water off a duck's back, if you know what I mean. So it's just there with it like an accompaniment, but it does actually bulk up your food, and it makes you feel like you've had a rice dish, even though it's not rice and even though it's not pasta. It is all right though. Cauliflower rice, but it stinks. It does. Oh boy, does it stink. I bought one of those packets of the, is it Evergreen? It's called ever something. And it was in the cupboard, and we only had one. And I think Gary wasn't sticking to it on the time because he was just getting over being ill. And so I said, okay, you have the actual rice. We had some basmati. I said, you have rice and I'll have the cauliflower rice. And you go like that and you go, oh God. Like, rip the packet and suddenly go, oh, I've got to eat that. But once you know, cook it and, you know, and put it in the microwave 2 minutes, it's done. You put it on the plate and it's fine. It tastes good. It just stinks big time. I've never made it. I know you can actually make it quite easy, and I do have a cauliflower, but I've never really got the process around and actually made it myself. Hi, Granny Draskins. Good morning, good afternoon. Don't forget the thummy. Joe managed to lose 30 pounds that the doctor wanted him to lose, so surgery should be in the next week or two. Oh, that's cool. Ah. You think you would die from withdrawal symptoms? It is, yeah. It is difficult to do without. Remember when last year, I think was it, or in the earlier this year, when there was a fire on one of the campsites, and the first thing that happened was the electric went off, and then the electric came back, but the internet didn't come back, and that's because there was a fire, and on one of the caravan sites, and the wires above all got burnt. So obviously they could reroute the power to come a different way, but they couldn't reroute the phone lines. And we had no phone lines for about a week, and we had no internet at all. And I had two phones that had data. And although they both kind of used O2 network, one was really, really good and one was atrocious. But the one that was really, really good had least data, of course. So I was getting in the car and going out where it was better for uploading, or I'd go to Gary's Brothers, upload a few and come back. And, I managed to get it done. But it was admission, and just watching something on Netflix, or you had the normal terrestrial channels, but anything else was a no-no. And it was so horrible having to try and do without internet. The amount of times you pick up your phone and you just have a little scroll through Facebook, and might hate Facebook, but you still scroll it, and have a look on Amazon, or and see where your date, where your £5 is, that sort of thing. But you just, every time you just think, oh, it's so slow because it was going on your data, which is a bad signal, because living on the edge of a cliff ain't great. And yeah, it was awful. It was. Did you ever get compensated for the internet failing because of the fine? No, nothing. Not a sausage. Jesse is planning my Christmas present already. Oh, bless him. He's such a sweetheart. He is lovely. I've still got his little... It was there. It is. No. On one of my cubbies. And this was... Jessie did this for me. It's green on one side. It's also green on this side, but this side is more saturated with colour. So there's my... Yeah, he lives on my little shelves. Bless him. I've got a picture that's on my fridge as well. He's such a little darling. Lolly, hello. Don't forget it for me. Hang on. Fan's going back on. Your friend complains about the smell of bag salads. It's the smell of cabbage oxidizing, but he thinks the salads are always off. Ew. Yeah, it is adorable, isn't it? It is. It's really adorable. Bless him. Such a little cutie. Yeah. And he is adorable. He is. Oh, I've gone really hot. Oh, hang on. Does anybody else stuff tissue down their bra? I don't mean to make them bigger. I mean, because you haven't got a pocket and you think, where can I put my tissue? Oh, yeah. I'll shove it down there. And I'm always careful that I give them a once over to make sure they don't look lumpy, because you don't want one to look like it's lumpy and the other one not. But yeah, I do. I shove my... And it came out. That's... How embarrassing. Whoever said I was a lady, I don't know. We must have got it wrong. Oh, you missed Kim's hello? He's doing well in school this year. Ah, that's good. Yeah, I mean, Tyler is too, thank goodness, because he was a little bit... They were... and Jesse's probably as well. They were the COVID kids. So what that means is that they're kind of real formative years. I don't know why that makes that noise. It sounds off. Anyway, their formative years were on lockdown. So they missed the socialising. They missed being at school and learning that, the stuff that they need to learn before they go to school, in the nursery. So, and they missed it for quite a time. So that whole kind of intake were a little bit behind because of it. So yeah, it's really good to see. And yesterday she sent me, Gemma sent me some stuff that he's doing, and it was all these different sums. They all had to add up to 10, and he got them all. And she said he didn't have any help at all. So when I looked at him, I think he's actually a genius, because he is. And when Michael was little, he had this thing for money. He hasn't changed, I have to say, but he had this thing for money. And I had some just on the side, change. And he made a massive sort of grab for it. So I kind of got his hand and I opened it up. And I took all the silver ones and I left him the coppers. And as I walked away, he looked at it and he said, "That's not fair." you've got so and so, and I've only got so and so. And when I looked, I counted them, and he was right. And as far as I was aware, he didn't even know the denominations of coins. And I looked, and it was, the boy is a genius. Oh my God, he had got exactly how much money I had and how much money he had, and he'd never learnt it. And I'd, oh, I've got a genius. That's where the genius ended. Apart from music, of course. Money, yeah. While you're on the subject of food, did you see my video link for a short about cheese and lactose intolerance by a British doctor? No, I missed that one. And what's that? You're getting ready to go to the doctor for a follow-up pain management. Oh well, I hope that goes well for you. And know all about pain around here at the moment, poor Gary. But they gave him the medication they gave him codeines, which I have codidromol in the cupboard. He'd probably have that anyway. And they gave him an antibiotic and an antiemetic, so he wouldn't be feeling sick, because the pain was making him feel sick. And they gave him suppositories, and he was like, "You're gonna have to do it." And I said, "You want me to do that?" And it was so every time I say to him, "Do you want one of these?" He goes, "No, no." And I say, "I'll put gloves on." But yeah, he's not had one of them, not one. He said, "If it gets bad enough, I'll have them." But that was it. Oh, delivered. Yeah, I know it's been delivered. It's broken. Yeah, finally. You got an appointment for hearing specialist? Well, good. I do wish you luck. Pain management. Don't think they understand unless they suffer from chronic pain themselves. No, no. And I guess, until you've had people like me, until you've had a severe pain, you don't know. I had one once that I just don't understand to this day where it came from. Well, I do, but I had a bit of a car accident, and we all do that. Whiplash, ka-ching, got a bit of a player. Well, about 5-6 months down the road, I woke up one morning, and as I opened my eyes, a pain like somebody sticking a poker through my brain just made me scream. I mean, literally scream out in pain, and tears just started to roll down my face, and I could not move my head. And even the slightest movement of my head felt like this electric shock in my brain. It was so painful. And anyway, I called the doctor. They said you need to go to A&E. So I got myself a neck brace because I couldn't actually move it at all. And I went to the A&E, and they gave me quite a lot of painkillers and stuff. And they said, "Don't wear one of those neck braces because you'll make your neck weak, and then it starts to rely on it." But every time I took it away, I couldn't cope with the pain. But having it there was the only thing that stopped any movement. So before that, I had a coat that had a hood it was sort of rolled up and put in the thing. Even that helped because it was covered and it was warm. But honestly, I'd never had such pain in my entire life. And then I had, and my Achilles went one day when I was drawing the curtains. All I did was reach over and pull a curtain, and this thing felt like it panked like this in the back of my leg. It felt like somebody had kicked something at my leg. There was nobody in the room, so obviously nobody had. But when I looked, there was nothing there on the floor. But I could no longer put my foot down on the ground because it was agony. And when you see these footballers limp off, I couldn't limp. I had to get crutches and keep this leg completely off the ground. I've never had pain like it. But as far as pain goes, childbirth pains I didn't actually have. I had labour pains, but not childbirth itself, because I was asleep for one and numb for the other. And yeah, so I've not really had a great deal of bad pain in my life. I suppose the worst sort of thing I had was waking up after my cancer op, and that was just another story. But yeah, pain wasn't unbearable, and they were managing it. But yeah, I only had say hello to Granny D. Oh yeah, your times are not right now, are they? You keep dropping out to take work calls. I know you're going to ask. So 1 hour. I'm actually now competing with my own video, because my Open With Me goes up, well, went up about 1:15. So yeah, I've got to get off, because I've got to cook dinner, with Gary being a bit out of action, because he is my turn to actually cook as well, because he went to work. And yeah, so I suppose it'll be steak. We had duck yesterday. It was lovely, absolutely amazing. We've got a butcher's that's opened up. It was a Pizza Hut, and it was a round building, so it looks like a really weird butcher's. Being in the, you've got McDonald's and KFC and an industrial kind of business park, rather than industrial, you know, like Dunelm's there and Halfords and that sort of home base type shops. And then you've got a butcher's that used to be Pizza Hut, but they do some amazing deals, and we got quite a lot of really nice stuff. So yeah, freezers are full, and yeah, so we're gonna have some, I think, steak and a lamb chop and mushrooms and maybe tomatoes, I don't know. So yeah, thanks for having me, coming to see me. And this channel is on the last stretch for watch hours, so if you know anyone who's got some time to spare, I would truly appreciate it, because I'm getting there slowly, but getting there, because obviously I don't get to make videos here all the time, but I will be with my micro needling very soon, and maybe some unboxings. Anyway, thank you for watching, and you know, I will see you on the next one. Take care, and I'll try and remember to get the name of that TV show. Bye for everybody. Bye.